The issue is automation and labor reduction in my conversation today with Mark Juelich. He is president of InPro, Industrial Procurement Services. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Give me the big picture, would you? Let's start with this whole idea of what people think automation is doing or not doing in a manufacturing or distribution environment. What's the biggest misconception that people have out there about automation today?
Sure, I think that probably the biggest misconception that we have is people thinking that somehow automation is going to replace humans and somehow take jobs away from people that want to work.
Mm-hmm. So for instance, if we have, like even today, we have these so-called dark warehouses where literally there are no people inside, but those seem to be more like specialized applications, not a vision of the future necessarily.
Right, a lot of times automation, we put automation in areas where it's not a good environment for people. Let's say like a cold environment. If it was in a freezer, it's much better to take your valuable employees and bring them out where they will enjoy their job more,
right,
and have a robot or some automation in that freezer doing the work in there.
Yeah.
So really it's about reallocation of labor rather than replacing labor.
Yeah, and not just the environment, but also the actual task itself, the
That's
incredibly
exactly.
repetitive, boring stuff that no human being really wants to be doing anyway, right?
Yes, automation is a perfect application in repetitive tasks that people just don't want to do.
So, but we are seeing automation side by side with humans. Maybe there are fewer humans in certain environments, but certainly they're not gone, right?
That's correct, yes. What we look at is we look at taking the employees that you have, expanding your business, but retaining everyone that you currently have. So we don't replace anybody. We just increase your throughput, increase your storage, and that's really what robotics is doing in industrial distribution today.
It's a lot of advantages you just cited. What would you say is the one of, if not the biggest benefit of automation?
Well, I think that you have the ability to have robots or automation working around the clock. You have robots don't take vacations, they don't take breaks. And we see a lot of times where a facility that really should have 3 shifts has 2 shifts, and the robots work overnight, and when that first shift comes in, they have everything laid out for them ready to go. So I think the biggest advantage is the automation, the robotics can work when people can't.
Yeah, and if we talk more about the whole labor benefit side, it certainly makes sense to have automation in facilities at a time when labor is hard to come by. Human labor is hard to come by, and if you can come by it, it's hard to retain.
Without a doubt, yes.
Right.
It's very difficult now. When you look at e-commerce as just a specific area, you look at the growth of e-commerce, it's very hard for companies that want to excel in e-commerce to bring in the proper amount of people to get the throughput that they need. So robotics comes in and fills that gap.
So if I asked you to look into a cloudy crystal ball, because nobody has one that is clear and no one really knows what's going to happen, I'd like to hear your view, Mark, on where you see automation and robotics trends going in, let's say, the next 5 years.
Sure. What we've seen in the last 5 years has been a great uptick in automation robotics and advances in technology like we've never seen before. And I imagine that the implementation of robotics and automation is just going to keep growing. I think that we're going to see a doubling, a tripling over the next 5 years of companies that are using automation, just simply because it's been so successful in the last 5 years.
How might automation affect, and now I'm talking about both the manufacturing environment as well as the distribution environment, how might automation affect what actually goes on within those facilities, the number of them, the size of them, and where they are located?
Yeah, I think that we see the ability to get the same amount of product through, or even an increase in throughput with 2/3 the footprint, 1/3 the footprint. So I think that your distribution centers and even manufacturing facilities can be more condensed. We also see, obviously, that you can have a micro fulfillment center. Your back room in your store can all of a sudden become a fulfillment center with automation, where we couldn't do that before.
Right. Not only is your real estate cost cheaper, but you're closer to the ultimate customer with those smaller facilities. And at the same time, you can have these multi-million square foot regional centers out there feeding those, right?
That's exactly right. And we see more and more of that.
So a lot of creativity going on because of
Yes,
automation. That's
it's
really
very
interesting.
exciting.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Mark, for those insights. I really appreciate that. I want to take a moment, though, to ask you about Industrial Procurement Services, InPro. Tell me about who you guys are and how you fit into this whole picture.
Sure. We're a material handling systems integrator. Um, uh, Really, what sets us apart is we get very, very involved with our customers. We learn their operation, we learn their data. We sit on the same side of the table with our customers and come up with solutions together. And but ultimately, what we do is we come into your facility and increase your operations, increase your throughput, increase your fulfillment.
I'm interested in the word you used, integrator, because I think you're acknowledging the existence of so many multiple systems and applications that all have to kind of play nice together. Is that an important
Yeah.
part of what you do?
Yeah, most projects that we do, there's at least a dozen different vendors that we use that we're integrating, and not only with the equipment, but also different softwares, WMS, WCS, ERP. We bring that all together.
There's an
Yeah.
alphabet soup for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, that's another interesting aspect of automation going forward is the idea that these multiple vendors. I would think you would agree with me that they will continue to be multiple vendors within facilities, and no one company can do it all.
yes, that's exactly right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, Mark, thanks again for your time. I really
Yeah.
appreciate your insights.
yeah. Thank you.
I have been speaking with Mark Juelich of InPro. Thank you very much for watching.